are he, his, him. I am honored to serve as your worship associate today. I wish to respectfully acknowledge the Washoe, Shoshone, and Paiute peoples who have stewarded this land on which we're gathered today throughout the generations. If you are joining us on Zoom, note that you will be muted throughout the service, but you can use the chat box to note any technical problems or to share your joys or concerns, or just to say hello during our time of prayer and meditation. Unitarian Universalism is grounded in, among other things, courage. The courage to face injustice. The courage to seek change in the world. But most importantly, finding the courage within. If this is your first time with us, or if you're newish to Unitarian Universalism, our foundation is that you live your life as your whole authentic self, that you become the person you know in your heart that you are. We accept you, and we are here to support you and help you to find the courage to do the hard work of building that wholeness. Only by becoming whole as individuals can we then turn to our larger community, our country, our world, and continue to do the hard work of fixing all that is broken. Again, welcome to you and welcome to our house. If you'd like more information on Unitarian Universalism or about our fellowship, please see me or one of our greeters. Any one of us will be happy to guide you to someone who can answer your questions. If you're online or watching this service later in our video archive, please contact our office or visit our website, uufnn.org, for more information. If I had to pick my least favorite type of disaster, it would have to be a pandemic and the appearance of a new contagion. Anywho, we now have COVID and the flu and the colds and RSV all among us. Please be mindful of those who are working to protect their health by wearing masks and practicing minimal physical contact and social distancing. Wash your hands often, sanitize, and please stay home if you're feeling unwell. Finally, please direct your attention to the back of the room to our memorial table. If you have a joy or concern that you want to share with the congregation, please light a candle and fill out a blue card and bring it forward to me here at the altar, and we will share those later in our time of prayer and meditation. And now, take a moment to greet one another, and if you're joining us on Zoom, please say hello in the chat box. As always, we have a few announcements today. Please check out our weekly e-news, where you'll be able to find all the details of what's happening in and around UUFNN each week. To subscribe to the e-news and to receive other updates, please fill out a contact card, which you can find in your seat backs, at the front desk, or electronically on our website. Next Sunday, October 29th, we'll be celebrating a Halloween extravaganza at our service. Wear a costume if you feel so inclined. October 31st at 7 p.m., we will be acknowledging our ancestors at our Silent Ancestor Feast. There will be a short ritual, and then we will eat in silence as we meditate on our ancestral connections. Please bring a food item to share, and you are also invited to bring a photo or memento of your beloved dead. If you're joining us on Zoom, please stick around after the service for the virtual coffee hour. And if you're here in person, please enjoy coffee and conversation in the gathering room after the service. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Shelly Thompson. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the interim minister here at UUFNN. It is so wonderful to be together on this gorgeous day. In the season of change, we come together to renew our courage, strengthen our bonds, and recommit ourselves to the faith that sustains us. I light our chalice this morning with a centering meditation by Marta Valentin. In gatherings, we are stirred like the leaves of the fall season, rustling around sacred trees, tossed hither and yon until we come to rest quietly together, softly. We come to gather strength from each other. We come to give strength to each other. We come to ask for strength from the spirit of all that is and is not. When our hearts sing or when they frown, it is the way of compassion telling us to give. It is the way of peace telling us to share our gifts. For we are happiest and most powerful when love is made apparent in us and through us. Spirit of the circle that is love, as we twirl in this dance of life, we give thanks for reminding us each day to ask our task of ministering to each other with a searching glance, a safe touch, a generous smile, a thoughtful word. Thank you for reminding us that we are always building our beloved comunidad. Thank you for reminding us that through our covenant with you, we covenant with each other and are made whole. In gratitude, we celebrate with open hearts and minds. We discover who we are, separate from each other and within one another. In this circle that holds all life, may we ever work toward widening the boundaries until there are none. Amen. Pause. Blessed be. Let us worship together. And now please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn 1012, When I Am Frightened.
Will
I have a few joys and sorrows to share with you today. Marilee Robinson and Kathleen Lay are asking for love and healing to their dear friend Elizabeth Askew. Liz was recently diagnosed with congestive heart failure, so please send love and healing to Liz and her daughter Olive. Marilee Robinson also wants to send out light and holding her always in her heart for the recent passing of her cousin, Leslie Sherman. Ed Brown would like to announce there's a new baby. Their first grandchild was born, and it's a boy. And finally, Jackie Riley would like to share a sorrow with you.
Some of you may already know, but I wanted to let you know that Larry Oakley, Nancy's husband of many decades, passed away unexpectedly on Friday. He'd been in and out of the hospital and rehab for the last month after a fall. He had a heart attack. They weren't expecting it. They know that we're holding them in their hearts, in our hearts.
Sending love and concern to all of our beloveds. October 24th is United Nations Day. I thought it appropriate to quote the preamble to General Assembly Resolution 217A, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, for today's meditation. Whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. Whereas disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted in barbarous acts which have outraged the conscience of mankind, and the advent of a world in which human beings shall enjoy freedom of speech and belief and freedom from fear and want has been proclaimed as the highest aspiration of the common people. Whereas it's essential, if man is not to be compelled to have recourse as a last resort to rebellion against tyranny and oppression, that human rights should be protected by the rule of law. Whereas it is essential to promote the development of friendly relationships between nations. Whereas the peoples of the United Nations have in the Charter reaffirmed their faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worthiness of the human person, and in the equal rights of men and women, and have determined to promote social progress and better standards of life in larger freedom. Whereas member states have pledged themselves to achieve, in cooperation with the United Nations, the promotion of universal respect for and observation of human rights and fundamental freedoms. Whereas a common understanding of these rights and freedoms, it is of the greatest importance for the realization of this bliss. The General Assembly proclaims that this Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a common standard of achievement for all people and all nations. Please hold this vision of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family as we enter our period of quiet reflection. And now, with one hand on our hearts, one hand open to the world, may this vision one day be so. Blessings to all of you.
within. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I'm sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter what you feel or what you choose to show, I'm always there for you, and so I want you to know I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I walk the path with you. Go slow, dear one, don't hurry. I'll go just like you need to go. There is no need to worry. I'm sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love.
Unitarian Universalism is a living tradition. For us, revelation is not sealed. Our faith changes and evolves as we do. And we now find ourselves in a time of insistent, persistent, rapid-fire changes, and what Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in the spirit of hope, called glorious opportunities. Especially during this transitional time here at UUFNN, my friends, it's all the things. It's all the things right now. In this moment, Unitarian Universalists are called to remember and be inspired by our liberal religious heritage as a people who are very often countercultural change agents. That's always been one of our guiding purposes as a faith. Now, we haven't always been on the right side of history. We've had some pretty spectacular failures, but we've also made significant contributions to monumental cultural shifts toward greater justice and equity. The moral arc of the universe does not bend itself. We are still and again being called to actively transform ourselves and our institutions in ways that build stronger, wider, deeper, beloved community. There is a lot riding on this transformation. Increasingly, we are actively discussing and sometimes arguing about how best to dismantle the institutionalized white supremacy culture in Unitarian Universalism, how to decolonize our methodologies and our protocols, and how to incorporate the anti-racist, anti-oppression, and multicultural adaptations that we need to make in ourselves and our institutions if we hope to truly widen the circle of concern and consistently practice preemptive radical inclusion. That is a lot of shift. It reminds me of one of my favorite quotes that Billie Holiday took from an old French expression. Billie said it this way. She said, "The difficult I'll do right now, the impossible will take a little while." We just emerged from the shadows of a pandemic that distanced us from one another and forced us to reimagine the ways that we connect and sustain community. We adapted using technology and virtual participation, and now returning to in-person community, we have hybrid virtual and in-person programming that's a way of life. Greater inclusion and outreach are one of the results. It was difficult, and we did it immediately. The need for more sweeping adaptive change in religious community has been looming for decades. Even well before the pandemic, we were aware of the trend of less and less people going to organized religious communities. People who do so now, all of us, are far less interested in committing to long-term committee work or devoting loads of volunteer hours to events and programs. Post-pandemic, we're rightly more protected of our free time, and we're more interested in preserving our energy and trying to find that elusive life-work balance, whether that work is monetized or not. Adrienne Marie Brown says in her book, Emergent Strategy, we need to figure out how to do things with less planning, more participation and presence. I agree. And you'll notice that's what we're doing with our children and families right now. Our children and families want to come and be nourished. They don't want to teach Sunday school anymore. And we want them to have a positive experience while they're here with us that fills their hearts, and they can carry that home with them. So we need to take a hard look at how we do what we do, and the challenge to take some risk, perhaps make some radical change to our standard procedures. It's a daunting reality that's not going to let go of us. We have to face it head on while preserving what we know is right and true and best about us, belonging in community together, centering down into our core values and focusing our attention on our covenants and our right relationships is the place to start. Putting values and covenant right at the center keeps us on solid ground. We start by slowing down and paying attention to being a loving community together that honors our human developmental process and lived experience more than any agenda or goal. The transformation we seek, then, is an emergent property of that shared process theology and collective experience. Therefore, how we choose to articulate the core values and covenants that define our faith matters now more than ever. We need to be able to clearly state who we are as Unitarian Universalists in a way that both inspires us within ourselves and among our congregations and makes us known beyond our walls into the wider world as people who are addressing these adaptive challenges with creativity, resilience, and hope. We have a saving message, no doubt about it. Our Unitarian Universalist identity, as it has been, needs to remain something we embody and are ready to joyfully share. How we do that now and in the near future may very well be a deciding factor for some of our church communities, whether or not they survive and thrive or disappear altogether, the way sadly so many churches in all faiths have done. Well, UUFNN is much better positioned than most of our churches right now. You have this solid foundation of beloved community to work from, and this is very clearly an intentional faith community. You are actually Unitarian Universalists on purpose. But what exactly does that mean? How do you describe it to your friends and family? Well, that brings us to Article 2 of the Unitarian Universalist Association bylaws. I know that sounds so boring, but it's really very exciting. Right now, the title of Article 2 is Principles and Purposes. Article 2 is undergoing a long overdue major change as a part of a mandate in the bylaws that we review it every 15 years. But the UUA has been putting this off because no one likes change, let's face it. And before now, Article 2 was last revised in 1985, when it was configured as the list of 7 principles and 6 sources. We like those, they go nicely on a bookmark, right? We're kind of attached to them, but they've only been around for 40 years, and they describe the Unitarian Universalism that was here 40 years ago. So, and those Article 2, 7 principles and 6 sources were also written as a review, as a radical change from the previous Article 2, which was written in 1961, and it was mostly laden with gendered male language. And by 1985, the women are like, hey, what about us? And now, of course, we have a different sensibility about gender being much more expansive than that. Things have changed. I'm different than I was in 1984. I don't know about you, right? Oof, thank goodness. So that Article 2 that we love actually represents the sensibilities of a decidedly 20th century liberal religion. We have changed. Now, these are words from the Unitarian Universalist Association Board of Directors. They gave a charge to the Article 2 Study Commission. It's time for us to do a review and make changes so that we're living into the Unitarian Universalism of the future, a Unitarian Universalism that holds us in times of great need and ethical, moral, and spiritual crises. We're in one of those times now. We've noticed. The review process so far has taken 3 years. This study commission has diligently hosted conversations far and wide, done surveys online, in person, and they have been listening to us talk about our UU identity and gathering input from UUs all over the country to find out what really matters to us most. And they submitted a report to the Unitarian Universalist Association last January, detailing their process and all of their findings. And then at our General Assembly, which is our big national annual association conference, that was in June in Pittsburgh, the delegates present on behalf of many of our association congregations approved 5 out of 95 clarifying amendments. And we now have a new proposed Article 2 under study during this final year of discernment. So that this most updated version will be voted on at our virtual General Assembly next June, 2024. We're all going to be doing it online. So in fact, some of that, when our delegates go to vote, we'll probably do that right here in this room together. It must pass by a supermajority to be adopted by the UUA. If not, we have to wait 2 more years until 2026 to try again. I really hope that doesn't happen. The Study Commission is an extraordinary group of Unitarian Universalists. They've had amazing careers of service to our faith, and they're intelligent and capable and have done just a beautiful job with this very, very hard work. They've listened carefully to all of us. And as the study commission notes in their report, Article 2 isn't just any old bylaw. It serves many functions, including theological, social, educational, personal, evangelical, and rhetorical. And they say, we are continuing the line of proposing changes that fit the times in which we live. We fully expect that one day another commission will review our work and significantly change it. We're writing in pencil, not etching it in stone. So here is what the new version is all about. First of all, it's called Article 2, Purposes and Covenant. You know, covenant's my favorite word. Purposes and covenant, I like it better already. Now, if you haven't had a chance to read it, let me reassure you that the content, the things we love about the first 7 and the 8th principle and those 6 sources, it is all still in there. I double-checked. I went through and I compared word for word, point for point. It is all still there. So we can keep our bookmarks and any other place that we've put our 7 principles and 6 sources, because they're not going anywhere. We've just changed the format a bit. Instead, there are statements of our values and our covenants, what we're really about. The purposes section tells us the purpose of the Unitarian Universalist Association is to actively engage its members in the transformation of the world through liberating love. Love with a capital L. You will hear a lot about love in this document. And while love itself is a word that can mean many things to many people, the rest of the document explains exactly what kind of love we mean. Liberating love. The Values and Covenant section starts with this. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant congregation to congregation and through our association to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. The bylaw says, inseparable from one another, our shared values are interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity. That's the kind of love we mean. This is evidence-based ministry we do around here. We will know that the world is becoming more loving when we see greater interdependence, more pluralism, better justice, more transformation, increase in generosity, and most of all, equity in our societies. We'll know we're on the right path when we see those things, the kind of love we mean. For each of our value statements, there is a covenant statement using ownership language. The model expresses that we Unitarian Universalists, we live by our core values, and we covenant to act as a faith community working for collective liberation and mutual aid for all people. This is what we mean by putting love at the center. This is our love of humanity and life itself. This language is accountable, and it is relational, and it is specific to how we define Unitarian Universalism. These are UU faith statements for our time. We Unitarian Universalists are a people who promise to keep working on the impossible no matter how long it takes. Always striving, never arriving. And a key feature of the new proposed Article 2 is that after 3 years of wordsmithing and thousands of conversations, we have worked really hard to express who we are in a way that overtly demonstrates our commitment to dismantle the white supremacy culture and elitism and white savior complex and the exceptionalism that have been the shadow side of Unitarian Universalism for far too long. That's not who we are. We are hopeful that most of us really see all of those elephants in the room now and are actively trying to move them to elephant sanctuary where they can't trample anyone else. Listen as a meditation to the values and covenants in a spirit of reflection and prayer. Interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. With humility and reverence, we covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation, creating a nurturing and sustainable relationships of repair, mutuality, and justice. Pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. Justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations and the society at large. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. Equity. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We say worthiness because it is not monetary or partial. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. They're beautiful, aren't they? Well, during his 2015 Ware Lecture at General Assembly, Dr. Cornel West said, "We have a love so deep, we have a commitment to justice, since justice is what love looks like in public." Well, my dear ones, you might be a UU if you use more words than most people. And we UUs say justice, interdependence, pluralism, transformation, generosity, and equity are what love looks like in public. May it be so. May we make it so.
Great big timber, we are washed by the
The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Nevada is entirely self-funded, so it is only through your generosity are we able to sustain the beautiful and valuable work of this congregation. If you're here in person, we'll be passing the basket. Note that there are now labeled envelopes in the back seat backs that allow you to easily designate how you want your gift to be accounted for, as part of your pledge to UUFNN, a donation to the operating fund, or if you want some or all of your gift to go to our Share the Plate partner. Donations with no designation will automatically be split 50-50 between UUFNN and our Share the Plate partner. If you're following along virtually, or if you prefer electronic payment, text 73256, 73256, type UUFNN in the body of the text and hit send. You'll have the option to contribute to both our operating fund and to our Share the Plate partner. You can also mail a check to our office at 780 Del Monte Lane, Reno, Nevada, 89511, or donate online on our website using our secure payment service. Share the Plate is part of our commitment to support our community. Every month, our Share the Plate recipient receives a portion of your donations, reflecting our mission to support the good works throughout Northern Nevada. For October, our Share the Plate partner is the Children's Organ Transplant Association, or COTA. COTA was founded to help raise funds for families of child transplant recipients to cover their children's lifelong transplant-related expenses. 100% of all funds raised through COTA's community fundraising campaigns go towards supporting these patients and their families. COTA does not charge any fees or take a percentage of any of the funds raised for the services they provide. And now let the offering begin. And now please join myself and David in blessing our offerings. To the work of this fellowship, which is helping more people grow in love, faith, justice, and joy, we dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings. Thank you for your generosity.
We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of courage that emboldens us, not the fire of commitment that calls us on. If you are with us online, please stay for coffee chat. If you're here in person, you're welcome to join us for coffee and conversation and whatever's left of the donuts. And I want to let you know that next Sunday morning, our 9 a.m. forum will be led by Nathan, and Nathan will be talking about Article 2 and congregational polity. Some of you know about congregational polity. It means that every congregation makes its own decision about what to accept, what we believe, and what we do. We're independent in that way, but we are an association of congregations. It's a little confusing. So Nathan's going to talk about that polity and give you some more background about Article 2 if you're interested. And certainly on uua.org, there's a ton of information. If you type in Article 2, it'll pull up the history, the report, the current article with the amendments, all that good stuff's on there. There's more sermons. Oh my gosh, there's so many resources. And we're going to be using some of those resources when we start our listening circles on Article 2, knowing that the congregation will make the decision together to inform our 4 delegates that we can send to General Assembly what our vote is. We want to make that decision together. So that means we'd like all of you, if possible, to participate in these listening circles and talk it through together. And so the first of those are going to be November 5th and November 12th, right after service. And we'll continue to have lots of opportunities to ponder this and feel the feels and see where we land on this big issue of Article 2. You're all most cordially invited to participate. And now, if you will rise in body or spirit, and please join in singing Fire of Commitment.